noticed the increase in anxiety and depression burgeoning in today's world? I certainly have. And I know a few ways to help get it back to a simmer from its having flared up. I'm aware of a few programs at a few hospitals that I'd like to tell you a bit about that involve touch and holistic options for health. Some of you have heard me talk about touch previously in the form of platonic, nurturing, consensual cuddles. So you might think, oh, that's Larysa's weird hippie lifestyle. This couldn't possibly be in a real-life medical situation or anything that anyone would take seriously. But perhaps you remember back to Psychology 101 and the rhesus monkeys, and when they were deprived of touch and separated from their mothers, they basically went a little crazy. Yet, if they even had sort of a mock-up mother that was just a soft cloth that they could cuddle with, that really helped reduce some of their anxious symptoms. I became aware at Lawrence Memorial Hospital of their Gentle Touch program. Before I get to that, I may have mentioned in the past, certain children's hospitals have the NICU cuddlers, volunteers, which actually, if you apply to be one of these, you'll find they are overstaffed, and it's actually a position that's more difficult to acquire. But occasionally you'll see viral videos online of people going in, and they talk to the babies and cuddle with them, and the parents are so grateful because they can't live at the hospital. They may have their own lives and other children to get back to, and they're grateful that there are these surrogate cuddlers to not just comfort the child, but help them grow, help them improve, help their health. So at Lawrence Memorial Hospital, they have this Gentle Touch program. At the cafeteria one day, I ended up speaking to a retired nurse that used to work there. So this isn't, again, just some woo-woo hippie out in the world that likes to just cuddle everybody. This was a nurse that recognized the benefit of this gentle touch that they were doing. Now, this was not getting into their hospital bed with them and full body cuddling, which I could see freaking some people out. But all they did was lightly stroke the forearm or the lower leg if the patient requested. They might use jojoba oil or something that was kind of neutral and would help reduce friction. And this former nurse reported to me how there would be people falling asleep while they were doing this, feeling very comforted and relaxed, and they were having to use less heavy-duty medication like the morphine or whatever's putting them to sleep. So it helped with both pain and anxiety. How many people are there in the world, let's say at nursing homes, who don't get visitors, who don't get their touch needs met, and who are basically aching and hungry for a hug? At St. Francis Hospital, I have a massage therapist friend who used to go and do gentle massage. She was used to working with fragile populations, so she gives a very light massage. Certain hospitals use acupuncture. They might have community acupuncture, like I used to attend, where the whole room is filled with beds and you get your needles put in amongst friends. Some hospitals have Reiki, which isn't really touch, but one could say it's touching the aura or the energy field. And then we've got Cuddle Party, which I would love to see happen at hospitals or among hospice populations, those who are either themselves dying or those who are the caretakers and are pretty much burnt out because day in and day out they're seeing sadness, their loved one declining. And I was having a thought on the way down of escorting people to the other side with love, kind of like loving out of this world, so that as they are in their last times, they feel the maximum amount of love, instead of feeling forgotten or that no one is aware of them anymore. So what have I been learning at Cuddle Party and through Cuddlist? I should mention I recently am now a certified Cuddlist, so that is a new development. And as I mentioned, Cuddle Party is a communication workshop that helps people with boundaries, consent, and improving their communication, being specific and asking for what they want. Have you ever said yes to something that you didn't want to say yes to? Or you just felt like you couldn't say no, even though you really didn't want to do that thing? cuddle party is a place where you practice this over and over until you reduce your level of fear of someone being upset by you having a boundary. So my belief is that if we had many more people attending cuddle party, they could then go out into the world and give some of this nurturing touch to the populations, like in nursing homes, who need it the most, and feel confident that if they had a request that they didn't want to do, like, will you massage my elbow, they could say, I'm not comfortable with that, and how about your wrist instead? Would that work? So since this speech is including questions, I am able to take a few questions from the peanut gallery at this time.
About the cuddle parties in the hospitals, how would those work?
What I envision would be an idea that burgeons into a large population coming to the place. It could be the families who are in the hospital at the moment visiting, or it could be people that come from the outside because, let's say, they recently had a family member die in the hospital. They converge into, let's say, a conference space and experience the same cuddle party that would happen at any other space. So they would experience the welcome circle, which is the workshop portion, and be able to have the option of nurturing touch, that no one has to touch anyone if they don't want to, but in a community where they might already have great empathy for each other, because if they're both grieving or all dealing with medical uncertainty in their life, that's a sort of relation that they could have that might not be found outside in the world.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I am pleased to report there is more touch coming to the world. I hope to increase it locally. And if you have any interest in learning about communication, boundaries, consent, or if the idea appeals to you of going to nursing homes and helping bring joy to those who may feel deficient in those areas, lowering anxiety and depression, let's talk after.